Right. Okie dokes. So we're going to come and stand on the mat as we usually do, but we're just going to start with our feet a little bit wider today. So maybe, I don't know, a couple of foot in between those feet. And just, as usual, take a little moment just to check in with how your body is feeling today. So trying to just clear your mind of all the stuff that's going on and just think about how you are. And maybe thinking about those feet, where you feel the contact with the mat, where you feel the pressure through each sole of the foot. And then slowly work up around those ankles, just taking in any information, anything that you feel there. Trying not to analyse it, just to acknowledge it. And thinking about how the lower legs feel and around your knees, how your thighs and the upper legs are, anything you feel around your hips and the pelvis and your lower back. And then just noticing your mid and upper back around your rib cage, how your shoulders are, and your arms, and then finally how your neck and your head feel. Just have a couple of deep breaths there, just taking that in, breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the mouth. So just have a check that you've got a little lift under the inside of each arch on each foot. So if you can pick your toes up, really spread the toes apart, and then just let them relax back to the mat, keeping them spread. Softness through the knees, and then we're just going to tilt the pelvis backwards and forwards a few times. So just the same as usual, that idea of the bowl and that the water in the bowl is being poured out to the front and then out to the back. And if that's at all creaky, you can still bend those knees a little bit more, keep it a little bit smaller if it's sore. And then just settle into a nice neutral position. So you've got that feeling of lift through the tummy. Widen across the collarbones. Just let your head float on up towards the ceiling. We'll just have a couple more deep breaths there. So breathing in, shoulders up to the ears, breathing out, just release them down. So a little bit of effort may be required to draw them up, but absolutely no effort required just to let them drop down, sit heavy on the top of the rib cage. You think of that whole shoulder girdle, your collarbones, so shoulder blades at the back and the shoulder joint, the whole girdle is coming up and then just sinking back down to sit on top of the rib cage. We'll go for one more. And then we're just going to go into some little squats, so those toes just slightly turned out, breathing in just to sink down a wee bit, and then breathing, we're breathing wrong again, breathing in to sink down a little bit and breathing out to come back up again. So just keeping it really small. Thinking about those knees tracking over the middle toes, breathing in, nice big breath in as you sink down just a little, breathing out to squeeze back up. Just keeping that weight into the heels. Thinking about those seat bones widening as you sink down, and then coming back towards each other as you squeeze back up. So we'll just go for 3 more. 2 and 3. And have a little pause. Still keep that little bit of softness through the knees, and we're just going to very gently slide the one hand down the one leg and gently back up, and the same the other way. And again, just keep it small. Just really make it easy. Notice how that feels through your back, through your body. And then gradually going a little bit further in each direction if you want to. keeping an idea that you just want to stay really relaxed, really soft through the body. Maybe notice how far you go before a bit of tension or tightness creeps in. And maybe see if you can breathe out as you come over, really relaxed. Breathe in, fill the body up with air as you come through the center. Breathe out and just relax over to the other side. Just really nice, easy movement for the body. And if everything's feeling good, fine, absolutely fine, go a little bit further, maybe find a bit more stretch, but whatever feels good this morning. So if you're happy to, we're going to add a little reach through the other arm, that's coming over or up, and then just coming back to center, and finding that bit of stretch on the other side. So just sort of find the bend a little bit first, and then let that hand come up towards the ceiling. Finding a bit of stretch and then increasing that as you reach the other hand up. We'll just go one more to each side like that. And then on the next one, we're going to let that arm come all the way over. Let the body roll around towards that foot, come through center, over to the other side, and back up. And then we'll go back the other way, side bending first, letting that arm come over, rolling all the way around to the other side, and coming back up, and then going back the way we came, side bend first. Arm comes over and roll around, up to the middle. Slowly back the other way. So again, just nice and easy, maybe finding a little bit of stretch, but more so just noticing how the body feels, where you feel the movement, keeping those knees soft. And back to center. We'll go one more in each direction. Side bending, that arm comes over, rolling around, coming back up. Last one. Rolling through center and back to middle. So we'll just keep those legs where they are. We're going to let the shoulders stay nice and heavy, float the hands up in front, and we're going to breathe out to open one arm to the side and breathe in to come back. Same on the other side. Just getting that bit of rotation through the upper body. Pelvis staying nice and square, hips pointing forwards. And again, just go a little bit small to start. Notice how it feels. Don't feel like you've got to push as far as you can. Just kind of really assess how that is before you start to think maybe you find a little bit more movement there. And again, just head floating up, shoulders really heavy. So we'll go one more to each side. Little pause, just let those arms come down, and then we're just going to have a little reach across body to one side and a little reach across the body to the other side. So obviously we've sort of turned away from center in those arm openings, now we're turning across the center, just getting a little bit of an increased range there. Breathing out as you reach to one side, breathing out as you reach to the other side. And just checking shoulders stay nice and heavy. Not necessarily stretching as far as you can, just feeling that movement. And if it feels good, maybe reaching a little bit further. Noticing all that lovely rotation through the upper body, through the waist. So thinking more about staying quite upright through the middle. So we're not kind of leaning over too far, just getting that rotation as opposed to side bend. That's it. We'll just go one more to each side and back to center. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of standing clam. So just come, so the knees are nice and soft. We're going to have the toe on the floor, heel against the side of the leg, hips as level as we can. I'm having a deja vu movement. Did we do this last week? It's a while since I've had one of these. Anyway, keeping that knee nice and soft. Equal weight into the big toe, little toe and heel on that supporting foot. And just that nice independent movement through that hip there. Keeping the balance obviously as well. If you need a hand to pop on a chair or a wall, then do. Breathing out to open that knee, breathing in to come back again. Just notice what's going on through those shoulders, through your neck. Is that all staying nice and chilled out? Just getting that bit of movement through that leg there. And then if you want to, coming up, so that foot is on the side of the shin. I'm still trying to keep nice and level through that pelvis. So we'll be working through this side of the bottom as well to keep that stability, keep the position. Notice again shoulders if they've started to do a little bit of work to help you keep balanced. Sometimes just thinking about letting them stay heavy is enough to let them relax. If you need to move them, have a little pause, roll them, and then go again. And we're just going to go for 3, 2, and 1. And then we'll switch sides. So weight into this other leg, soft through the knee. Breathing out to open for the other knee. Breathing in to come back. Again, pelvis really nice and level. Keeping those little bony hip points pointing forwards. Notice how this hip feels, whether it's as easy or in any way different to the other one. Check this knee staying soft, so all the muscles are really active through this supporting leg. Looking good, and then check in with those shoulders again. And then if you want to make it a little bit more challenging, that foot can come up onto the side of the shin, and same again on this side. Looking good. Just check again this foot that's supporting you, trying ideally to get that weight the same, big toe, little toe and heel. So I definitely know that this side of my bottom is having to work a bit harder to keep the stability. You can see it's sort of not quite so easy for me to keep my pelvis nice and level, so just noticing any little bits like that. All useful info. And we're going to just go for 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. And come back to centre and have a little shake through those legs. So we're going to do some of our roll downs with that bit of rotation. So feet hip width apart, knees nice and soft again. We're going to come into a tiny little side bend. We're going to rotate the upper body towards that side and just peel slowly down any amount. So Eloise, go careful. Don't feel like you've got to do the rotation. Don't feel like you've got to go very far. And then gently come back up again. Same to the other side. So that little side bend first. Then rotate the upper body towards that side. Keep that rotation as you peel slowly down any amount towards that foot. You might only come a little way, doesn't matter, and gently back up. So again, just feeling how your body is and how that movement works for you today. Side bend, little rotation, and then peeling down towards that foot. Breath in at the bottom, breathing out to peel back up again. Same to the other side. Side bend, rotate, and peel down. Breath in at the bottom, breathing out to peel back up to centre. We'll go 1 more to each side, that little side bend, bit of rotation, knees to stay soft. Just getting that movement through the body. Last one, side bend, rotate and peel. Breath in and peeling back up again. Okay, so we're going to go into some straight roll downs, but we're going to pause halfway for a cat, movement into cat. So still feet hip width apart, knees nice and soft. Have a breath in, just let that head lengthen up towards the ceiling, and then breathing out, peeling down, rounding through the back, and then hands find the knees, and then breathing in, lifting the tailbone, lengthening through the back and widening those collarbones, and then breathing out, chucking the tailbone, rounding the back up towards the ceiling, and unrolling back up. So just keep working with that with your breath, flowing down forwards in a rounded position, breathing in, lifting the tailbone, lengthening and widening across those collarbones, breathing out, rounding up and peeling back up. So it can be really fluid, should feel really nice, just getting lots of movement all the way through that spine and back. Again, as much or as little movement as feels good for you today. So just should be really enjoyable and comfortable and feel good for the body. Breathing out to feel down, breathing in to lengthen and widen, and breathing out to round and come back up. We'll go for 2 more like that. Last one. Breathing in to lengthen and widen, breathing out to round and unroll back up. Have a pause at the top, and then we're going to do a couple of normal roll downs. So again, breathing in, lengthening up, breathing out to peel down and forwards. Nice and slowly. Breath in at the bottom. Breathe out, tuck the tailbone, really stack that pelvis first, and then one little backbone, one on top of the other. And a nice deep breath in at the top. Same again. Breath in at the bottom, breathe out, get that tailbone tucking and peel back up. And then we will pause at the bottom of this next one. Either hands resting on the shins or fingertips on the floor, and let's pedal out through the back of the legs. So just keeping that head hanging towards the mat, shoulders drawing away from the ears. The one heel lifts, the other heel is squeezing down into the mat, and then switching over. Just notice how that stretch feels through the back of one leg and then the other. And again, it doesn't need to be a big stretch, just getting that movement going. Feeling a bit of lengthening through the back of one side and the one leg and then the other side. And then we'll let both heels come down, bend the knees, walk the hands forward, come down onto the mat. Just bring those wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Think about those shoulders drawing away from the ears again. Have that little sway side to side. So you'll bring the weight more into the right hand and knee and then into the left hand and knee. Just noticing how that feels to each side. And then slowly coming back to center, find that equal weight on each one. So we're just going to do a couple of cat here because we've already done a little bit on the way down. So just breathing out, tucking the tailbone, rounding the back up towards the ceiling. Breathing in to lengthen back to neutral. Again, just noticing that movement, where you feel the movement. Is it easy and equal all the way from the base of the tailbone to the top of the head? There's kind of part of your back that feels a bit stiff or a bit stuck. Maybe give it a little bit longer. Just focus on that area, giving it time to move. Just breath out, really empty out all that air as you round up. And breathing into lengthen back. Go for one more. And settle into neutral. Try and get a real feeling of the top of the head reaching forward and those shoulders drawing away from the ears. And we're just going to do a few scapular isolations. So breathing out to let the chest sink down, breathing in to float back up again. Just feeling those shoulder blades coming towards each other as you sink down and then being pushed apart as you float back up again. Go Go for a couple more. And then float back up into a nice neutral position. I'm just going to turn so we can see. And we're just going to try and keep those shoulders nice and level and just take one arm out to the side and gently back. And then the other arm out to the side and gently back. And just think about really reaching out with those fingertips so you get as much space through that shoulder joint as you can. But literally the back of the body stays nice and level, shoulders nice and level. Just getting that reach out. You'll feel maybe some muscles through the core working to keep you in that same position now that you take one corner of the support away. And we'll just go one more to each side. And come back to centre. Now, Eloise, you might want to keep going with your arms. And if anybody else would prefer to keep going with the arms, please do. Otherwise, we're going to work a little bit with legs. Now, in the same way we kept shoulders nice and level and that hand came out, we're going to try and keep the back of the lower back of the pelvis nice and level as we just take one knee out. And it probably won't go very far. Same on the other side. It's more of a reach out and you get a little float than a lift. So we're trying to keep pelvis really nice and level. Again, keep it smaller rather than larger. Think about your weight being really central in that start position, and nothing really changes as that leg just slides out to the side, little teeny lift, and then back again. You should feel the muscles sort of on the outside of your upper leg and into your bottom, working quite hard there to get that little bit of opening as the pelvis stays nice and level. And we will just go for one more to each side. And come back to centre, drop the tailbone back to the heels, take the knees a bit wider, slide those hands forward, and just breathe into the back of the rib cage there. Nice deep breath. So just feeling those ribs really opening and expanding to the back and the sides of the body as you breathe in, and just sinking and softening back as you breathe out. And then when you're ready, walking those hands across to one side. Actually, we'll all take them to the right, if that's okay, because we're going to do a little bit of that rotation. So walk the hands across to the right. Find the stretch into the left side of the body and just breathe into that left side. And then we'll pop left hand on top of right. And as we breathe in, we're just squeezing down that left hand, rolling the body over to look under that left arm, and then gently releasing back. So again, Eloise, totally up to you. You might even not want to stay in this position for that long. You might want to just walk the hands side to side. Same goes for anyone else, but as long as that feels all right, just breathing in, little squeeze down with that top hand, roll the body open, and look under that top arm. So we'll just go for a couple more this side. And have a pause, walk those hands back across to the other side, so they're coming over to the left now. Finding the stretch into the right side of the body and just breathing into that right side. Again, feeling those ribs opening and expanding as you breathe in, just sinking and softening back as you breathe out. And then we'll pop right hand on top of left, breathe in, roll the body open, look under that right arm, and breathe out to release back again. Just notice how that feels to this side compared to the first side. Keeping it nice and easy. And just go for a couple more. And then walk those hands back to centre. And walk them back up towards you. And we will come over onto our backs. So grab a little head cushion if you want one. And just get yourself comfy, that length through the back of the neck. We'll have feet hip width apart. We'll start with those arms a little bit wider. And just take a bit of time to notice where you can feel the contact through the back of your body and the back of your arms with the floor. So nice big breath in, fill the body up with air, breathing out, empty out all that air and just let the body sink down into the mat. Imagine your body as that giant balloon, and as you breathe in, it inflates the balloon, blows it right up, and then as you breathe out, the balloon completely deflates and just sinks into the floor. So I hope you're all comfy there. You can feel that the back of the body is just eased and softened into the floor a little bit. We're going to just bring those feet and legs together now. And again, starting really small. Imagine you've got a laser beam shining from your belly button up towards the ceiling to start with. You're slowly going to turn that laser beam a little to one side and let the knees follow. And then turn that laser beam a little to the other side and let the knees follow. So just really easy, gentle roll of that pelvis side to side, keeping, or as you come through centre, feeling the contact with the mat all the way along the back of the body there. So we're keeping quite flat, we're almost keeping a feeling of that tailbone staying slightly tucked as we roll the knees to one side and then gently over to the other side. As long as that all feels good, starting to go a little bit further in each direction each time. But really focusing on the laser beam from your belly button, turning to one side to bring the legs across. And then turning to the other side to bring the legs across. Again, always just tuning into what you feel, where you feel the movement, where you feel any stretch or activity. Noticing if that is similar as you take the laser beam to one side and then the other. And then we'll gently bring those knees back to centre. Have a little pause. Now, you might want to keep legs together. If you're happy with your hips and your back, you can take those feet as wide as the mat. And if you're not happy with your hips and your back, you can still do this, but just keep it really small and really think about that back staying sort of heavy into the mat. And then we're going to do the same again. So just turning that laser beam over to one side. These follow. So slightly different to what we do sometimes here. We're turning the pelvis a bit more first. And those knees are just following, even with the feet wide. Quite often I do it the other way around and get you moving the legs and see where the pelvis follows. But today, just turning that laser beam, getting the pelvis rolling over, legs follow a little, and then the same to the other side. And again, just letting your head roll in the opposite direction to those knees. And just go one more to each side. And then come back to centre. And then just bring those feet back so they're hip width apart. And we're going to do we'll just start with our normal pelvic rolls, and then we'll take it more into a little cogs exercise. So just to start, the same as usual, breathing out, rolling the pelvis towards you, breathing in, rolling the pelvis away. And just checking you can feel that equal contact through both sides of the lower back, both sides of the back of the pelvis. Equal pressure on each side as you roll backwards and forwards. And then just pause and just settle into relatively neutral position and pause there. So we're going to take our arms out to the sides a little bit. And we are going to, as we roll the pelvis away from us, roll the arms so the palms are onto the ground. And then as we roll the pelvis towards us, we're going to roll so the palms come up towards the ceiling through the arms. So it's not a big movement, but just as the pelvis rolls away from us, arms roll in, and as pelvis rolls towards us, arms roll out. And just notice how that is. Bit of a coordination challenge. Only small. And just notice what your head does. As your pelvis rolls backwards and forwards, it should kind of pull your head in the same direction. So as your tailbone comes towards the floor, your chin comes towards your chest. And as your tailbone rolls up away from the floor, your chin comes up away from your chest. So your pelvis and your head kind of mirror each other as they move. It's like a little bit of a cogs system, pelvis, rib cage, head. And then we're just going to change the arms round. So as you roll the pelvis towards you, you're going to roll the palms up towards the ceiling. And as you roll the pelvis away from you, you're going to roll the palms down towards the floor. Have I changed that round? I've confused myself now. Never good. So whichever way your arms are rolling as the pelvis rolls towards you, change that around. I'll get my head around this in a second, bear with me. Yeah, so that's what we did to start with. So you should now, as your pelvis rolls towards you and your back flattens into the mat, be taking those palms so they're facing down towards the floor. And as you roll the pelvis away from you, those palms are coming up towards the ceiling. Wave at me if I've got that completely wrong. I just want to be able to roll the arms in one direction as the pelvis comes backwards and forwards, and then roll the arms in the other direction as the pelvis comes backwards and forwards. Okay, let's just come back to a nice neutral position. Let's put those arms back by our sides. Have a little reset so that you've got that little pocket of air under the middle of the lower back. Pelvis is nice and neutral, back of the ribcage heavy into the mat. And we're just going to go into a level one hip twist. We're going to breathe out, open one knee to the side, and we're going to breathe in to draw that knee back again. And then the same on the other leg. So just keeping that pelvis lovely and level, little bony hip points. They don't move at all. You want to pop your hands on the front of the pelvis there. Just check that the pelvis isn't following that leg as it opens. So we're keeping the one knee pointing straight up towards the ceiling. And then as that other knee opens, everything else is just staying nice and still. And we're going to add a straightening through the leg. And we're going to do it slightly differently to how we've done it previously. So when that knee opens next time, pause and slide that leg out so it straightens, and it does come out to the side on an angle. And then just slide it back in again and let that knee come back in. So I'm going to turn so we can see me on the camera there. So we're opening the knee to the side, lengthening that leg out, so you're getting an opening through that hip, sliding the foot back in, and then that knee comes back again. Same on the other side, open, lengthen, out to the side, fold back in and back to centre. So it's just slightly different movement through that hip joint. Again, only if that feels good for you. If sticking with the just knee opening to one side and back again is more appropriate, that's absolutely fine. Otherwise, that knee opens, lengthen that leg out and away, slide back in, and then knee back towards the ceiling. So you might just find a bit more sort of stretch into the muscles on the outside of that hip there a little bit. You're still trying to keep that pelvis nice and level. Nice long breath out to open the knee, slide the leg out, long breath in to slide that leg back and bring the knee back up towards the ceiling. And we'll just go one more on each side. And then back to centre. We're going to go into our level one scissors. We're going to breathe out, float one leg into single tabletop, breathe in to come back down. Same on the other side. And the theme this week for scissors has been that fishing rod. So we're thinking about the thigh being like the rod, the lower leg being like the line, and the handle of that fishing rod being right down at the hip. And it's that handle that lifts the leg and then lowers the leg. So you can really feel that that little pocket there under the middle of the lower back does not change at all the way through that movement. So we're going to sort of add an option into that. Next time the leg floats up, we're going to pause, lengthen the leg away, and then fold back in, and then gently down. Same on the other side, floating up, lengthen the way on an angle, fold back in, and gently down. Excuse me, there appears to be an alarm going off in this room. I have no idea where that's come from. See if we can stop that. All right. Okay. So we're going for a nice long breath out for that leg to float up, and then lengthen, and then a long breath in to fold and gently back down. And again, that little pocket of air staying exactly the same under the middle of the lower back. Just moving through the hip on the one side and then on the other. This can be one, if you have a slight sort of clunky hip, that it gets you as that leg lengthens. I have the same problem. There's a few different things you can try. One is to more consciously think about activating through those deeper tummy muscles. So really think as you breathe out and lengthen that leg away, you draw those bony hip points in towards you. Another one can be to just slightly change the way you take that leg longer. And as you reach it out, almost take the foot down and then circle it up and then come back in again. It's just to do with the slight imbalance of the muscles and soft tissues around the hip. It's nothing to worry about too much, but if you're getting a big clunk each time you lengthen that leg away, do let me know. So, okay, let's go one more on each side. And gently down, and we'll just give those legs a little breather. So we're going to bring hands up towards the ceiling. Actually, before we bring our hands up towards the ceiling, pop them on the floor and just slide them down towards your feet a little bit. So you really get that feeling that your shoulders are drawing away from your ears. You might need to just reposition so you can let those shoulder blades slide down the back of the rib cage a bit more. And then reset your neutral. So pelvis nice and neutral, lower back, a little pocket there, and the back of the rib cage still sinking into that mat. And then we'll take the hands up towards the ceiling. And we'll breathe in to float those fingertips up towards the ceiling. Breathe out to let the shoulders sink down onto the mat. So you've got those arms straight, palms facing each other. Those shoulders stay drawing away from the ears. And then just breathing in to float the hands up. Breathing out to sink the shoulders down. Just feel as those shoulders sink down, that they're really widening, melting into the mat, finding more contact across the back of the shoulders with the ground as they sink down. Just go for one more. And then pause, keep those shoulders wide, and we're going to go to some arm scissors. So one arm's going to reach back overhead, the other comes down by the legs, and then switching over. Breathing out as those hands reach away, breathing in as they cross in the centre, and just making sure the back of the rib cage stays really heavy into the mat. We'll go one more to each side. And then come back to centre, let those arms come down again for a moment. We're going to work in and out of double tabletop as long as you're happy to. So breathing out to float one leg into single tabletop. So you can keep those shoulders wide, the rib cage nice and heavy. Pause, breath out to sink those ribs down and float the second leg up. Hold, breathing out for one leg to come back down. Pause, and then breathe out for the second leg to come back down. Same with the other leg first. Breathing out to float up, hold. Sink those ribs, breathe out, float the second leg, hold. Breathe out for one leg to come down, pause, breathe out for the second leg to come down. So if you can keep your nice neutral position, that's fab. If you need to flatten your back into the mat to maintain your stability, that is absolutely fine. Just really trying to make sure that as that second foot leaves the floor, there's really no change in your position. You can feel all of those abdominal muscles really switching on to a much greater extent to take up the load, but there's no change in your position. Good. So if you are happy, we're going to stay in double tabletop next time we get there. And pause, and we're going to go to level 4 hip twist. So one knee is going to stay pointing up towards the ceiling, other knee is going to open to the side and then return. Same with that other one. And again, we're still really working on keeping pelvis really level, equal weight down through both sides of the back of the pelvis. Breathing out to open, breathing in to come back. And then, if you would like to, in the same way we did when the foot was on the floor, you're going to open the knee to the side, hold, keep the pelvis level, lengthen that leg, and then fold back and come to centre. Same on the leg. Open, keep the knee in the same spot, lengthen that leg, fold back, and then back to centre. So if that's not for you, don't worry. It's a little bit tough into some of those muscles towards the top of the thigh. You might want to stick with just an open to the side and close again. As long as that feels good, really keeping the weight into the opposite side of the pelvis as that leg lengthens. Notice how it feels from one side compared to the other. Breathing out to open and then lengthen that leg. Breathing in to fold and come back. Just check that other knee is staying straight up towards the ceiling all the way through. It's not sneaking out to the side. We will just go for one more in each direction. And back to centre. And then we're just going to go into a straight single leg stretch. So just breathing out to reach the one leg away, breathing in to come back. Same on the other side. We aren't far off finishing this little section. So if you are cooked, that's fine. Stay under the ball, have a little roll around. Still going, well done. We will just go for 3 more to each side. 3 and 3. Each time you breathe out, sinking those tummy muscles down. 2 and 2. And finally 1 and 1. And then draw those knees into the chest. Have a little roll round on that lower back one way and then the other way. Well done, guys. Good work. So we'll just finish off with a little bit of work into bridge. So when you're ready, let the one foot come down, let the other foot come down. We'll have head cushion to one side. Find that length through the back of the neck, arms reaching long. And just check those feet are hip width apart. You've got your heels nice and close into your washroom. And just start super small, breathing out, rolling the pelvis towards you. Just holding that for a breath in, breathing out to roll back. And then start the same way, maybe peeling just one or two little backbones away from the mat. Hold and breathe out to release again. Just coming maybe 2 or 3 backbones this time. And just gradually keep working with that nice and slowly. Again, really trying to just tune into how that feels rather than thinking how far you want to go or must go or how it should be. It's just taking in the information as you move. So often we all get almost too focused on doing everything absolutely perfectly, and we don't listen to what's available to us information-wise from our bodies. So just noticing how that all feels. Just think as you peel up, that gentle reach of the thighs away from you a little. Hold and then breathing out to peel back down. A little thought that those ribs stay nice and heavy. Breath in at the top and then sinking down again. Now you might want to keep your feet hip width apart. If you would like a little bit more stretch through those hips again and you're happy with how your hips and your back are, you could take those feet as wide as the mat. And then same again, breathing out to roll the pelvis towards you and peel up away from the mat. Breathing in to hold, breathing out to peel back down. And just again, really keeping those ribs nice and heavy. It's about using those glutes to open you up through the front of the hips. And then peeling back to the floor. And again, getting that really nice mobility work through the spine. You think about the spine being like the giant slinky. It just peels away from the floor super easily. Hold for the breath at the top and then it peels back down super easily. We'll just go for a couple more. Last one. And grab your head cushion back so you're comfy. Draw the one knee in, draw the other knee in. Little rock side to side or roll around, whatever feels good for you. One way and then move the other way. And then we'll just come to center. Keep hold of the one knee nice and close into your chest. Pop the other foot on the floor. Slide that one out and away. And then you're just going to breathe out to push the heel away and breathe in to relax through that foot. So keeping that one knee nice and close to the chest, back stays nice and flat into the mat. And then breathing out, pushing the heel on that straight leg away. Breathing in to release. So each time you breathe out and push that heel away, hopefully feel a little bit of lengthening, stretching, almost sinking through the front of that hip on the straight leg. So for one more breath. And then we'll gently draw that straight leg back in. Hold on to that knee nice and close to the chest. Pop the other foot on the floor. Slide it out of the way. And then the same on this side. Breathing out to push that heel away. Breathing in to release. Notice how it feels this side. You get that same feeling of stretch and lengthening through the front of that hip, or is it a bit different? You might also feel the stretch into the back of the, or around the bent leg. And just comparing one side to the other. And then when you're ready, slide that straight leg back in. We'll let both feet come to the mat. Just glue those legs together again. Take the arms a bit wider and just gently let those knees roll from one side to the other. Maybe keeping it small if you need to, or if everything feels great, letting those knees come all the way across. Letting the head roll in the opposite direction. And if you would like to make that a bit stronger, just pause in the centre, cross the one leg over the other, and then allowing those knees to roll again, one way. And then the other. And once you've done, let's say 3 to each side, that's 3 for me, we'll pause, change the cross of those legs, and then same again, rolling to one side and then to the other. And we'll do 3 to each side with the legs this way around. Back to centre and unravel. Let's cross one ankle over the other knee, reach that knee out of the way from you, and you might be happy to roll those legs side to side in this position, totally optional. Or if you want to make that stretch into the muscles around the hip a bit stronger, draw that second leg in and have a little rock side to side if you'd like to in that position. But wherever you are, that knee that's sticking out to the side, you want to be actively trying to reach that out and away from you. Just finding that stretch into those muscles around the hip, into the sort of back pocket area of the bottom. The bottom, we don't have back pockets in our bottom, you know what I mean. If you're wearing a pair of jeans, where your back pocket would be. So just a little roll side to side there, and then come to centre, gently release and switch over. Other ankle over the other knee, and again you might want to roll the legs side to side there, or just hold the stretch. Or if you want to draw in that second leg in, little roll side to side there. And again, just comparing where you feel that stretch, how strong it is. It just feels similar or different to the other side. And then gently come to centre and release. We are just going to have a little roll backwards and forwards. If that's not for you today, you might want to just come to a nice full body stretch. You might want to come onto your front and do a little bit of cobra or something. But if you have to, you're just going to have those hands behind the back of the legs and just have a nice little roll backwards and forwards on the lower back there, coming up onto those seat bones and then rolling back again. And just seeing if you can pause for that little balance at the top and then roll back again. Keeping it nice and easy, so you can use those hands just to support you gently, shoulders relaxing down. And we'll just go for a couple more. Last one. And then gently coming all the way up, and we'll all come up to sit. We'll just go for both legs straight out in front. Sitting up on top of those seat bones. If you'd like to sit on a block or a sort of firmer cushion, that's more comfy for you do. And we're just going to have a little stretch with the back of those legs. So you don't have to have your legs completely straight. Knees can be slightly bent, but you want to keep the toes pulling up towards the ceiling. And we'll have a breath in to reach up and a breath out to come down towards those feet. It doesn't matter where you get to, you're just finding that stretch into the back of the legs. Just check, where you're feeling that. We want it into the back of the legs there, not necessarily into your back. It's not, you might feel stretch in your back and that's absolutely fine, but it shouldn't be uncomfortable, well, mildly maybe. It's just knowing that difference between what's a sort of mild discomfort and a bit of stretch and what actually is maybe not feeling so positive, and you just need to come away from it slightly. And if you want to just push your toes away from you a little and then pull them back just to sort of come on and off the stretch a little bit, that's absolutely cool. And again, just keeping it nice and easy and comfortable. And then just relax there, bring those hands slowly back up towards you. If you're comfortable sat cross-legged, then go for that. If you'd rather have your legs out wide, that's fine. And we'll just have a little breath in and reach up, And a breath out to twist to one side. Breathe in and just grow a little bit taller. Breathe out, maybe twist a little bit more, but again, just trying today to really sort of notice how it feels, not force anything to go anywhere it doesn't want to. And then gently release to center. Breath in to reach up again. Breath out to twist the other way. A little bit taller with that breath in. A little bit more twist maybe with that breath out. And then just release back to center. Change the cross of the legs. I'm just going to have a very little side bend, one side and then the other. So keeping the one hand on the mat, just taking the other hand up towards the ceiling. Think about trying to lengthen up through that side and then just a little reach over. Come back to center. Again, really lengthen up through that side and then just a little reach over. And come back. So we did this last night. I can't remember who was here last night. I think Nikki might have been. But just no, so you can still get a sort of different and equally beneficial sort of feeling of stretch, just slightly different by just getting that lengthening up and then just a little reach over as opposed to a big side bend. Just go a couple more to each side. Breathing out, lengthening up, and a little reach over. One more each way. Come back to center. If you're happy to, you can just roll forwards over those feet. Otherwise, just bring yourself around so you're on hands and knees. Tuck the toes under and roll back over those. So you can keep the hands on the mat, take the hips up towards the ceiling. Just have a couple of breaths here. Let the crown of the head hang down for a moment. And then when you're ready, bend the knees, drop the tailbone and gently unroll back up to stand. And we will finish. Nice deep breath in and reach up. 2 more. Last one. And there we go. Well done, chaps. So